Good evening, folks, and welcome to For Manor Modelers EC. Tonight, I'm your host, Steph. Gary's got some personal business to deal with. In the house today, we have Julian. We have Dave.
Right.
We have Mark.
Evening.
So let's quickly go around everybody, see what you're up to, and then we'll move on to Dave and we'll have a look at what weathering powders he uses. So, Julian, evening.
Evening, Steph.
How you doing?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Yeah, could complain, but it's not worth it.
No, nobody's going to listen anyway.
Sorry, did you say something?
So I'm carrying on with this one because Dave got me in the mind for it, and I had it. It's a better kit than the Messerschmitt, I think. The fit, and so far I've got this. I'm now
nice.
Starting the main paint underneath first.
Yeah.
It's going to be a Fleet Air Arm. HMS Albion, I think it says.
Yeah, very fairy.
Yes, definitely. Yep, HMS Albion. So I thought it'd be sky underneath, but it's not. It's white, so it's giving me a bit more headaches. Everyone complains about white and in larger areas, but we'll see how it goes. So there we go. I'm enjoying it.
I was just about to ask you, how are you enjoying it?
I am. I'm really enjoying it. I didn't show you the top.
Oh, looking nice. Is that ready for decals?
You'd think so, wouldn't you? The colours. They nearly get the colours right. Yeah, but you'd think so. Oh, I didn't show the engine inside. There's the engine under the cover.
Oh, nice. Nice, like that.
Do that, yeah. There's the tailpipe underneath. Yeah. Yep, really good so far.
So how's it gone together?
I think it's got really good, yeah. The only problem's been me, but there you go. It usually is the problem with my models. I don't look at it properly. So
who should we go to next?
Should we go to Mark next?
Go on,
Mark.
Evening, Mark.
Evening,
how are you?
Evening, Steph. How are you? Good evening, everyone else.
Yeah.
Julian, Dave.
All right.
So what are you up to, Mark?
This evening I'm carrying on with the Sunday Russian build.
Why?
Primarily because I want to get the wheels done. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 parts per wheel.
Yeah, and so
I want to get them at least painted. That's all. So once I've painted the wheels, then I shall be starting something else.
Ah, what are you starting next?
That, my dear boy, is a darn good question. Probably. I've got a little 1/72 JP down here.
Right.
So I might give that a go. It's the scheme that it's in. It's one of the Airfix starter kits.
Yeah.
And it's in an all red Central Flying School livery.
Which one?
Bear with me, I'll get it out.
So the Red Pelicans, is it?
Is it the Cranwell colours?
Oh, nice.
But I want to do it in the red and white.
All right. Yeah.
The old EFTS colours.
Yeah.
So I shall need to be doing a bit more research into them ones as to where the sort of like the colour boundaries were along the air side of the fuselage.
Yeah.
So that be what I be doing.
Well, if you have a look at the Bruntingthorpe website,
Yeah.
they've got them on there.
Oh, sweet. Cheers for that.
A couple of years ago, Lisa got a fast taxi and one down the runway at Brunty.
Well, you know, when you did your airfield phase at Cosford.
Yeah, were they still doing JPs when you were there?
Yeah.
Cool.
Around the marshalling bit, and one of the corporals gave me a taxi, a couple of circuits in one of the JPs.
Oh, nice.
Which was rather nice of them.
Yeah, was it ever? So that is what you're doing tonight.
Yes.
Ducky. So let's go to Dave.
Hi, Steph. You all right?
Yeah, how are you?
No, not bad, thank you. Not bad. Just working, doing a bit more work. Got the engine and gearbox stroke drive wheel done on that ball tank death trap, whatever you want to call it. Just want to do a bit more work on that. And I've got some. I've decided I'm gonna during the week I'm gonna do the model making at the weekends. Gonna do some figure painting. So yeah, just a few more bits to do on that. Got another print that I want to get going this evening. So yeah, how about yourself?
So if we can go back, so what sort of figure painting are you doing? Normal figure or resin figures that you've printed off?
Yeah, these are the Arch Villain miniatures. So I'm doing this handsome fella, complete with gallows.
Nice.
So yeah, and oh yeah, they're horrible. Oh, he's got a bell as well. So there we go. There's his bell.
Bring out your dead.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's sort of this weekend's project.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've got a few things to print for some friends and what have you. So yeah, that's what I'm up to.
So how long will it take you to print that? I know how long it takes you to print those. Bloody ages. How long will it take you to paint that figure?
That would be best part of a weekend. Probably, I reckon. In total, you're looking at about 10 hours. I reckon 10, 12 hours.
Okay.
You know, it depends really. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'd say 12 hours would be around about, maybe a little more, little less. You don't really know till you get started, really.
Right.
But yeah, yeah, a good weekend sort of painting, and it should be done. So yeah, it's all I've got planned for this weekend.
Cool. Nice. So got a busy weekend then.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm back to work today and tomorrow. So I enjoy doing the figure painting, but equally it's been really nice to get back some model making and to do the construction side of things. But you know, just not nice to kind of get a balance of the two, really.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always nice, isn't it?
Yeah. So how about yourself, Steph? What are you working on?
I am doing something I should have done a couple of months ago for my better half. It's a book nook. So there's a little mirror that goes down the back. And it looks like an alley. So I'm also going to be lighting up. I've got some little bits of wood somewhere, but I'm going to be lighting up little bits and pieces. I'm going to do a street lamp as well. So yeah, just cracking on and doing what I should have done ages ago.
Was that printed, or was it, Steph?
They're wood.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's there you go.
All right. Oh, I see. Okay.
That laser cut stuff.
All right. All right.
So yeah, I'm cracking on with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a comment here. Julie says hi, Mark, Steph, Dave, and Julian. Sorry.
Hi, Julie.
Hi,
Hi,
Julie.
Julie.
Right then, Dave, if we can allow you to crack on with your little bits, if that's all right, we'll go mute. And just
Right,
give me a
okay.
shout when you're done.
Right. So, weathering pigments are. I think it's probably the last thing I put on a model during a project. The first ones I bought, and they're still very good. Is the original MIG Productions. This was MIG Jimenez's first company. So I've had these. Blimey, I remember buying this for a project in 2010, and if you look. See, there's still you use next to nothing. I mean, unless it's a really large project, you really don't use very much at all. A word of warning: when you're working with these, I've ruined. I remember the first time working it, I've ruined a cutting mat. I've ruined a pair of jeans. This is obviously pigments. That's pretty much they're very high pigment chalk powders. The worst thing you can do, as I found out, is rub it in. Basically, just if you do get it on anything that you want to preserve, like clothes, stick them straight in the washing machine. You might get away with it, but boy, oh boy, they really do. Their very nature, they really do stick. So obviously there's a selection of earths I use. So again, that's the sort of European dust. There's sort of light earth. So basically just using different textures. On a vehicle, you might use 2 or 3. I would say start with the darker colors first and then build up to the light. The other way around, it's very hard to kind of cancel out the lighter colors. And I suppose with mud, the basic idea is that the drier it is, the lighter it gets. That's a kind of basic rule of thumb. It's not always the case. So they're the basic sort of mud effects from MIG Productions. Just as a quick aside, it's a company called Pinnacle Pigments, and I actually think they're even higher pigment content in these. And you also, I mean, where these are 50 mil and they're 20 mil. So they're about the same price and you get more than twice the amount. And this I bought for, I can't remember, some project, and I wasn't quite happy with the earth colours of the MIG pigment. So I bought these, I think it was at Telford, and he was doing deals. So I think for like £5, you got 2 pots or something like that. And they're, I'd say they're actually a higher pigment content than the ammo ones. So they're very good. Now, just looking at some of the more specialized ones. I mean, I used this one the other day. This is the Black Smoke. Be very careful because that lid's cracked, and so I don't want it going all on my workbench. But if I show you just on the exhaust, you can see of that engine just around the joins in the exhaust manifold. That's where I had the Black Smoke, just soot deposits to make it look, weathered and well used. Moving on, another slightly obscure use for pigments, but something could be very useful. I use this on military vehicles. When you've added like mud and earth effects and everything like that, you tend to start losing the base coat. So what I do is, so if it's like I mean, the last thing I used this on was a Pershing I did. It was like an olive green. So to restore some of the green of the base coat, is very, very carefully sort of stippled some of this on like the fenders and just on the top of the turret where the where the weathering would be worn away. It just helped restore some of the base coat. Another kind of more specialized stuff. This is like a very good concrete pigment. Which is good. Concrete is a hard thing to get right, and I think this can work well. Another thing I was going to mention is these MIG thinners. Very useful if you want to apply kind of light mud around road wheels and stuff like that, because it makes the thinner sort of clump up, the pigment sort of clump up a bit more, so you can get concentrations and mud build up. Likewise, if you're not quite happy with the effect, use some of this and you can remove it. So what I tend to do is say, like on the engine deck or something, I'll put on some pigments and then basically just touch the end, just get a brush, fill it by capillary action. You just dab it on the right area and it will spread the pigments out. It's best not to kind of brush, but these will sort of separate it and they'll also attach the pigments to the vehicle. You can use pigment fixer, but really I find this does the job, unless it's really, really covered in pigments. This will do the job just as well. So, I mean, that's some basic stuff there. Now, the next use for pigments, or the next kind of group, I suppose, is rust. Again, rust, I think we were talking on the show the other day, I've never been quite happy with the rust effects I've got. I'm just determined to get it right at some point. So, I mean, obviously painting the rust tones is one thing. Using these pigments can really give the effects some texture, I suppose. Again, you can use it with the thinners. That's what I used a little bit on those exhausts. So, you know, if you look at something that's rusty, more often than not, there'll be I think the problem is there's a real variety of colours. You'll have it like really dark red, and then there'll be sort of specks of fresh rust, but where the metal's kind of oxidized, perforated, you'll have that sort of colour. So it's worth just having a mess around with stuff like that. So I mean, that's another effect you can use pigments for. One final thing I was going to mention is, if I'll just get them, I've got some down here. These are MIG liquid pigments. Basically, this is the set I use. Again, I used it on the exhausts for the engine that I did. They're pigments, but they're in a sort of solution, so they're kind of like a paint, but a very diluted paint with a very high pigment count. So again, when doing the rust effects on the engine here, you sort of paint on the rust base coat, which is like a dark brown, and then you can use kind of almost like something between, it's just worth experimenting, something between a wash and using pigments just to get some kind of variation in color, really. So I mean, they're quite unusual, and again, I think took me a little while to kind of get the hang of them, but they're very useful. I mean, they do a whole range of them. I mean, these are very useful as well for doing the miniature painting. You can do things like, you see there, you've got the grey shadow, so you can add like sort of 5 o'clock shadow on a figure, and then blend it in with like green shadow just round like the eyes and stuff, you know, areas of shadow. Light red just to add some colour to like cheeks and what have you. So I mean, this is again a very quite specialist, but a very useful thing to have. So I mean, they're really the main ones I use. I've got some of these. These are quite, I don't use these so much, but these are the kind of first pigment sets I've got. And these are the Tamiya ones. So I mean, there's a flesh kind of like painting set that I've really not used. Well, I haven't used it at all actually by the look of it. But you see, you've got a little makeup brush, and basically you can use that, and it's adds some interesting effects. I do several different ones. I mean, here you go. There's you know, quite a good set. You've got soot, so you can add that to exhaust. Rust, which again, some of these work better than others, and then you've got a snow one as well. So again, they're very good because you can just straight out the box, you can get some decent effects, and again, you can combine it with thinners and get a slightly more volume to the effect as well. So I mean, really, it's just a case of trying these things out, see what works. As I said, the MIG ones, nothing wrong, but these are very good. I would say if you can find them, the Pinnacle ones are the same price. They're actually slightly better quality, and you get twice as much. While it's finding them, And they are available online on eBay and stuff like that. And their range isn't quite as comprehensive as the original MIG production one, but they're still very good. Tamiya ones, I would say you can get those in nearly every model shop when they're online. Very easy to use. It's what I kind of thing I started with, and then I suppose you got you move on to other stuff as well. But and then finally, I mean, these are quite specialist, but they are very useful. The MIG liquid pigments, and again, the great thing is if you're not happy with the effect, you can use the remover. I tend to find that I use a mixture of all three different ones. 3 or 4 different ones, just depending on the job I'm doing. And again, if one thing doesn't work, you can kind of you can try another one so you can get a better effect with that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you got any questions, please leave them in the comments. And hope that's been of use.
That's brilliant. Thanks very much for that, Dave. Really appreciate that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Anybody got any questions?
Yeah, one. Once you've applied a pigment to whatever part, does it need sort of like sealing down, or?
Really, I found that if it's something you think is gonna, the thinners will basically mean it'll adhere to a surface. Yeah, like road wheels and stuff like that. As I said, there is a fixer. Hold on a minute. I've never really used it. It's something, if you wanted to build up a really, really heavy concentration of mud, then I could see how it'd be useful. But really, I find that the thinners and maybe a dust coat of a matte clear coat will just hold them all in place, really. As I said, unless it's very, very thick mud. In that case, you probably, if it's very thick mud, then you probably use something like the Vallejo, pre-mixed mud, something like that, or that's what I would use.
Okay, thanks for that, Dave.
No, you're welcome.
Yeah, so if anybody's got any questions for Dave, just drop them in the comments and I'm sure he'll answer them.
So it's pretty much the last stage is the weathering, yeah?
Pigments are kind of, I mean, just to run through without kind of getting too off topic. I mean, the way I would weather, say, that Spartan that I did.
Yeah.
I would. First stage is obviously a wash. So I'd use the MIG oil brusher brown wash to sort of get, a nice dirt in the sort of nooks and crannies of the model, as it were. Then I would add, say, the pigments. So some again, depends. If it's a relatively well maintained vehicle, it won't get that dirty, But say if it's like like that Pershing I did, in the recesses, you put a little bit of pigment, and then, as I said, you dip a brush in the thinners, and then by capillary action, just dab it, and then it will spread out the pigments in the recesses. And then after that's done, I'll add a dust coat of Tamiya XF52 flat earth, if it's like a European, say World War II European vehicle, very diluted, just around the bottom of the running gear and the side skirts and what have you. And then you can either add more pigments or you can add mud effects. That would be my kind of the order that I would do things.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I must say
Sorry, Judy, go for it.
So the only weathering I've actually done really since I've been Mac modelling is the mud element. It's like a jar of mud. I can't remember the mud. I think it was probably MIG. I think that I've done on the tracks. Did on the tracks of the Chieftain. So that's about as far as I've got.
Right. I always think. I mean, there's obviously it's getting layers. I suppose the thing is, you'd have dried mud, or a kind of dry sort of dust that's kind of caked onto the vehicle. And that's obviously what the airbrush dust coat is with XF52. That's what that's simulating. and then kind of below that, as it were, you've almost got the mud effects. That's how I look at doing it anyway. But it's whatever works really, and it's worth, like with the airbrush and like with everything. If you've got an old kit, just experiment on it, see what works and what doesn't work really.
Like a mule sort of thing.
Yeah, that's what I did. I think I said when I first got into weathering, I got given a load of kits, and half of them are incomplete, or they'd been started and given up upon. So I mean, I got the hull of a couple of tanks and just practiced my airbrushing and practiced weathering on them. So so that's how I'd approach it.
Dave, have you ever used chalks, pastel chalks?
I did, and the problem I found with them is that I just couldn't get them consistent. I remember using them. I mean, I don't think they were the greatest chalks in the world, and the problem is they were okay, but just getting them to be a consistent sort of finish, especially doing a whole tank, I found it difficult. And I remember just buying a couple. I think they were on sale at a show. Buying a couple of the MIG Earth pigments, and as I said, those pots I've had for 10 years, and I've hardly made a dent in them. With all the stuff I've done. I mean, as long as you don't, the only thing you've got to be careful of is not dipping a brush with thinners in the pigments, because then they'll clump up a little. You'll still be able to use them, but you might have to take like the top layer off or something like that. So briefly, but I just find they're a bit more consistent, the commercially available one.
Okay. Cool. Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
So, got any more questions for Dave, guys?
I'm going to go and wash my hands. They're covered in pigments now.
Well, when you come back, you can tell us all about the gigs you've got.
Sorry?
When you come back, you can tell us all about the gigs.
Oh, okay. How to weather your gigs.
Yes.
I've got some gigs. I mean, that's news to me.
Got a comment here. Noel Michael Patrick says, "Good evening, gentlemen." Evening, Noel. Hope you're doing well.
Evening, Noel.
Evening, Noel.
All right, good evening, Noel. There we go, that's better. Remember years ago, a friend of mine was asking me, I can't remember what he was building. He said, "Where do you think I should weather this?" I said, "Are you giving it a wash?" He goes, "Yeah, it's still not looking right." I said, "Try dry brushing." Yeah. I said, "You tried pigments?" He goes, "Not allowed those." I'm like, "What do you mean?" Apparently, he's working with some pigments. The cat knocked them over. Basically, so he's got a big kind of European earth stain in the carpet. Cat knocked them over, rolled around in them, ran into the living room, then rolled on the brand new cream sofa.
Oh, marvellous.
Oh dear. Oh
Well,
dear.
you can't blame him for that. That's not his fault. That's the cat.
His wife didn't see it that way.
Oh dear, that is.
Mm-hmm. When I suggested doing the rest of the carpet, he wasn't very appreciative.
No, his wife wasn't either.
I said, she was out at the time. I said, "Oh, you could have just tried to convince her it was always that colour."
Yeah. Lower your life expectancy.
Yeah, she wasn't happy.
No.
So, where have you got these gigs then, Dave?
Well, a new agent has actually been working for a living, and they sorted us out a little tour in sort of Midlands, Newcastle, and Scotland in October.
All right, nice. You anywhere
So
near
I'm going-
Northampton?
Sorry.
You anywhere? You going to the Road Mender?
Oh, I don't think so, Steph. I mean, I'll have a look. I mean, basically, he's got like it's a new guy, and he's basically like, well, look, I'm working on the assumption from August that everything's going to be back on, because that's what I've been told.
Yeah.
So we got some festivals in August. Nothing major, just some kind of medium, none of the really big ones. And then the idea is release an EP and then go, do a little tour around October to promote it. So
Nice.
I should think they're gagging for people to come and do gigs soon.
I hope. I think there's going to be a lot of pent up demand. Hopefully,
Yeah.
and it'll be good to get my fat ass behind a drum kit and lose some weight. There we go. So that was just again today sent through a bunch of dates. The only issue being, I mean, I've not heard if Telford's going to be on this year.
Oh no! Don't tell me it's going to be on over Telford.
Well, again, he says there are dates you can't do, and I'm like, well, I can't. The second weekend in November, but I haven't heard anything yet. I don't even know if it's going to be happening.
Right.
What's the band called, Dave?
The Kubricks.
Oh, right, okay. I'll look out for it.
As in Stanley, isn't it?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So.
Yeah, I really can't wait to get back out and be able to do things again.
Well, yeah, I think, as I said, August. Hopefully, I think things will. Especially, I mean, the festivals obviously because they're outdoors. Hopefully, things will start getting back to normal. But I spoke to my dad the other day. He's 90 years old. He had his first injection the other day.
All right, cool.
He said, "Oh yeah, I'm back to normal now." I'm like, "Blimey, he's an impressive vaccine."
No, that's a bit late for a 90-year-old, right?
Well, it must have been his second one. I think he had his first one. He was in the middle of nowhere,
Oh, right.
He's up in Norfolk coast.
Oh yeah.
Holcombe. Yeah, Holcombe, yeah. He said the only side effect he had was a sore arm. He was fine apart from that.
Mark's old stomping ground.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he was a culture, wasn't he, Mark?
I was.
Yeah, I took my dad to what's the Mockleborough collection.
Oh yeah, want to go there.
He was stationed there in the 50s with a Remy. So he said it's
any good.
Sorry, Julian?
Is it any good?
Yeah, I mean I've been twice, and every time there's a little bit. It's a shame. I mean, I want to take my dad again because he worked on the anti-aircraft batteries, and they're just restoring those last time we went. And as I said, he actually worked on them when he was stationed there. So nice to take him back just to have a look, really. But he says it's a fraction of the size it was when he was there. It was a big old, really big base then.
I think it's another Norfolk tank museum or Norfolk thing. I think some.
Yeah, just outside Norwich. Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not worth. I think it's one of those you could do a decent day out. You could do you could do say the Norwich Air Museum and the Norfolk Tank Museum.
Yeah.
I don't, it's not really worth just going to the Norfolk Tank. There's not really enough there.
I know the Flixton one's good.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry, Judy. Sorry, I keep interrupting. Go.
No, it's all right. No, my fault.
There's another good one a bit further. Sorry, Dave. There's another good one a bit further down. US Air Force 8th Air Force called Thorpe Abbott's near Diss.
Oh, okay.
That one is brilliant.
Yeah, I had a young Facebook friend work with them. Yeah.
There's the Norfolk and Suffolk Air Museum, which is also well worth a visit.
That's Flixton, isn't it?
That's
Flixton. Is that Flixton? Is that the one? Oh, okay. Okay.
I remember it was about 3 aircraft when I was a kid that I had.
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, it's rammed there now. Absolutely,
Yeah.
Just so what the great thing when I was there was like they've got all the Martin Baker ejection seats lined up. So for reference material, it's really handy. And I remember just I had to make a phone call, and I was stood out the back of the main hangar. And I turned and I go, I recognise that, and it's the tailpipe from a TSR-2. And he said, "Oh yeah," he said, basically managed to salvage one of the last ones.
I remember we went there and I got some models and did them at my grandma and granddad's one summer.
I remember getting a B-17G from Duxford many years ago.
Yeah. Remember doing much? No, it was a Liberator. I remember getting that on my birthday from Hendon Air Museum.
I went to Hendon that's from school as well, yeah. That was good.
They did a model show there for a while.
Didn't they?
Yeah, it was. It's always the issue with the problem because obviously it's open to the public and it's a model show. So the issue is it's good because there's obviously plenty to look at, but at the same time, a friend of mine turned around to see this kid holding their helicopter with his finger just about ready to spin the blades. And, yeah, he shouted at him and his mum shouted at him, and yeah. So, and I think the new management just aren't really up for that. They want to keep it as a museum, really.
So any plans for the weekend, guys? Dave?
Said figure painting, really. I've got an article that I want to get done. So that's about it, really. How about you?
Not a lot, really. Usual quiet weekend. What about you, Mark?
Bugger all, really.
Watching Arsenal lose again.
Ooh. North London Derby Saturday, so.
Oh, okay.
The knowing laugh there, Julian.
I'll keep out of that.
There's a knowing laugh there, Mark.
Definitely.
Couple of comments here. Julie Owens has said, hi, Noel. Hi, Julie. Sorry to hear the passing of Gary's uncle. Rough time for Gary and his family. Could you pass our sympathy on to Gary, please? He's away suited and booted, as he says, but thank you. I will pass on your regards. Yeah, he's having a bit of a shitty time. He's the boy. Another 20 minutes.
Oh, I was going to say, Steph, I got some charcoal air filters for my printer today.
All right.
They were 20 quid on Amazon for 2 of them.
Oh, nice.
Just thought they're like a little. I'll go and get one. Hold on a minute.
K&N air filters. Twin exhaust.
Well, you can't smell anything. I'm not quite entirely convinced it's harmless. So there you go.
All right.
And then there's like. Got a charcoal block on the top that you just stick in, and the USB charge. So I thought, it's worth giving it a go.
Oh, cool. These, the one I've got, I hardly smell it.
Yeah, I was one of the guys saying that he said there's still. I don't, but I'm just thinking. I mean, I got mine in my kitchen, and I'm just like. The guy was saying, just because you can't smell it doesn't mean it's not giving off toxic fumes. It's not giving off a lot, but over time, you just better safe than sorry, really.
Yeah, I suppose so. I have mine in the shed, so.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's. Suppose it's Obviously, where mine's in the house, I'm just thinking.
Oh, yeah. No, can't fight on that one.
Someone's in trouble.
Oh, yeah, that's around the back of the house.
It's always like that stuff, is it?
No, it's very rare.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I live in a nice, quiet neighbourhood.
What you want.
Oh, yeah. Nice, quiet, peaceful life. But then you don't get it.
Yeah. you airbrush chaps, are the air hoses a standard fit, or
Yeah.
they are? So you can get any air hose from compressor to.
Well, it's quarter and 8 inch. So just check, because some compressors, my compressor's it's a quarter inch,
Uh-huh.
and I've got a converter so it goes down to 8 inch, eighth of an inch. Yeah.
Does that build up the pressure? Does it?
Well, it's just some of them they either come with one or the other. My first one, it was an 8 inch male thread,
Uh-huh.
and this one's a quarter inch male thread. So it's worth checking when it comes in. And if you do use an adapter, get some plumber's tape.
Yeah.
So it seals basically.
Yeah, a bit of PTFE.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So just need to measure.
Tetrafluoride ethylene.
Yeah. I remember that from school, that PTFE. Well, what it meant.
And the only thing I would say, Julian, if you can get it, model tools, and I never even thought about it till the last hose got it split. I've got a clear plastic hose.
Hang on.
And it doesn't weigh anything. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
So when you're using it's nothing. I didn't even think about it till I got this. You know, I'm just like, I was at a show and I'm like, Paul at Model Tools. I'm like, you know, I need a new hose for my airbrush. I normally use the rubber braided one. That got a split in it, so I got this. And the great thing is, it doesn't weigh anything. So when you're using the brush, it does actually make a difference, because you're not having to kind of support the weight of the brush and the hose at the same time.
Okay. All right. What's that made of?
That's just like that's just like a kind of a thick, kind of flexible, clear sort of.
Okay. Thanks, Dave.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the Model Tools, as he calls them, used to be called Little Cars, but Model Tools stopped them.
Right.
All right, let me just finish this and we'll quickly go around everybody. So, start with Dave. What have you managed to get done this evening?
These are it's really hard to kind of visualize because it's such an odd vehicle, but the inner kind of bearings the engine and the what have you sits in the middle of these two rings.
Oh yeah.
And then so these are the kind of frames that the seats and the armament and the engine mounts on that goes in between them.
Oh yeah.
So they've all got to be sprayed white. So I thought, again, as Julian was saying, it's a pain in the neck to spray white. So I find Tamiya white primer very good for that.
Yeah.
So I'll give it a blast of that in, when they're all in component form, and then put it together. That's the plan. So yeah, sort of been up to.
Cool. So have a look at Julian. How are you getting on with your Venom?
Talking of white, hang on. Talking of white.
Oh boy, there's white.
Oh,
But it's not too bad, actually. Got to get it on fairly quick with a brush. It either blobs up or pulls in places, but it's not too bad. Gonna need a couple more coats, I think, maybe. When you look at it close, especially around the fuselage.
yeah.
In the where it sweeps into the wing, it's not hot. Paint's not holding there, but I'll get there with some more. Let it dry. I think would be a good idea now.
Yeah, let it dry and then
Come back for
light
another.
coat. Yeah.
And then I've got the.
Oh, cool.
That's got to have red ends, and then the black decals go over the top for checkerboard.
All right, cool.
Plus tail fins and all that on that, but I think it's going okay. Thanks.
Nice. So, what about you, Mark?
Still plodding on with the wheels.
How many parts per wheel?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8
Per wheel.
per wheel.
So I suppose you're tired of dealing with them.
Oh god, here we go.
All back.
This first one.
Like that. That's starting late. That is for you, Dave.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just thought to tread carefully.
Oh no.
Oh, Dave, I hope these jokes have no bearing
Oh no. Here
on
we go.
what's going on.
I'm more off now.
I'll put the brakes
I hope
on.
Sorry, I hope I haven't spoke too soon.
Nuts.
Oh, you beat me to it.
I wonder how the brakes will take it.
Oh, well, I having a nice balanced conversation.
Not
Better
when you
than going incognito.
Bloody hell.
I thought I'd spare you the last one.
You don't, that's the problem.
Like spare one.
Yes, I know.
Okay. Well, it's because you weren't laughing, Julian. I just thought I better
Dig
Yes.
the knife even more.
You better pack it in, Dave. We've got a nice hub going here.
I'll get a grip.
Tread carefully.
No pressure.
Don't want the conversation running flat.
No. Give us a second. Got a couple of comments here. Nat Williamson, evening, gents. Trust me to come in with the tiresome jokes.
Oh,
very good.
Ooh,
Good
good
one.
one.
Yeah, it says hi, Julie, and Julie says hi back. So coming up to the last 5 minutes, folks.
Yeah, I was going to say, Mark, you can't help thinking sometimes that mini art's run by a bunch of sadists.
Yeah.
God's sake, please do not mention mini art to Gary. You'll get half an hour of why he hates them.
This ball tank mini art as well. That's I'm not looking forward to the final. Great detail, but yeah,
over engineered.
Yeah, a little, and I feel I don't want to knock them because they obviously put a lot of time into their molds. They just don't seem to fit together very well sometimes. You know,
And the fact that they don't have bloody numbers on the sprues.
yeah. Or well, I think this one does. I think in one of these companies they got better. They get better as they go along.
Right.
But I mean, I remember, but the last one I made was a Russian mobile canteen, and the detail was beautiful, but it just fitting the thing together. The number of things I had to take apart and refit because they weren't right. So
Yeah.
it's a shame because I mean, fundamentally, it was a good kit, but
Nice.
Mark White on Models for Heroes was saying the same thing about the dingo. What Gary was saying.
Yeah.
Getting fed up with it. I think he needed that kit to go with his Battlelord Orbat or something he was doing.
Mm.
Yeah, the coffee's cold. I'm not sure I've got the right shade of white here, but it'll do.
that's what weathering's for, Julian.
Yeah. Well, that's my bad painting does for weathering. Well, that's what I say. If that doesn't look right, I was weathering. I'll do.
Quick comment here from Nat. This is the annoying thing with the Games Workshop sprues, as they are not numbered either. Ooh. Ooh, have you seen? Oh, good lord, what's his name? I think it's a miniature hobbyist.
Ring a bell.
Yeah, it's a miniature hobbyist. Have you seen him, Nat? He takes all the sprues from for Games Workshop stuff, and he makes some amazing stuff with them. It's brilliant. He's got what he calls ooey gooey spruey stuff, which is he takes all the sprues, puts them in a jar, pours acetone on them, and just leaves them to melt. Once they're melted, he's got a rolling pin with these thickness bits on the side, and he rolls them out, and then he makes all sorts with them. He's really, really clever, very clever. So if you haven't seen him, have a look. It's called Miniature Hobbyist. So yeah, have a look at him. It's the sprues, not the actual figures, Nat. But they, because they're flat on one side, they make great bricks if you cut them up. Right, that's very nearly an hour. If you guys would like to say your goodbyes.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye. Good night.
Bye, everybody. Stay safe. Keep modelling.